In May 1983, an Israeli F-15 aircraft collided with an A-4 Skyhawk and lost one of its wings, but it still managed to land safely. The F-15 Eagle is a legendary air superiority platform with an unrivaled modern air-to-air record of 104 kills with 0 losses. But when we think of aircraft that can really take a beating, we don't often think of the F-15. Rather, we think of planes like the A-10 Thunderbolt II, which land on forward airstrips with more holes punched in them than a brick of Swiss cheese. Stay till the end of the video to discover how the F-15 was able to land without a wing. The United States Air Force introduced the McDonnell Douglas F-15 Eagle to replace its fleet of McDonnell Douglas F-4 Phantom IIs. Unlike the F-4, the F-15 was built primarily for air dominance, with little thought given to ground attack. The F-15 Special Project Office was opposed to F-15s doing interdiction missions, coining the slogan, "Not a pound for air-to-ground." The F-15 has proven to be a successful fighter in service, with over 100 aerial combat victories and 0 air-to-air losses as of 2007. Despite a lack of government interest, McDonnell Douglas discreetly developed an interdictor fighter based on the F-15. The aircraft was designed to replace the General Dynamics F-111 and remaining F-4s, as well as to supplement the existing F-15s. In 1978, the United States Air Force launched the Tactical All-Weather Requirement Study, which looked into McDonnell Douglas's proposal as well as alternative options like buying more F-111s. The F-15E was recommended as the USAF's future strike platform in the research. In 1979, McDonnell Douglas and Hughes began working together on the air-to-ground capabilities of the F-15E. McDonnell Douglas used the second TF-15A prototype, AF serial number 71-0291, as a demonstration to aid in the development of the F-15E. The Advanced Fighter Capability Demonstrator made its first flight on July 8, 1980. It was formally used to test conformal fuel tanks, CFTs, which were originally planned for the F-15 and known as the FASTPAC, which stands for Fuel and Sensor Tactical. It was later outfitted with a PAVE-TAC laser designator targeting pod, allowing it to deliver guided bombs independently. At the 1980 Farnborough Air Show, the demonstrator was on exhibit. Despite entering service over 50 years ago, the McDonnell Douglas F-15 Eagle is still one of the world's most powerful and capable air superiority fighters. The Eagle may not be as technologically advanced as its 5th-generation stablemates, the F-22 Raptor and F-35 Joint Strike Fighter, but it makes up for it in classic Cold War style, great engineering, and good old-fashioned physical force. The F-15, like the A-10, was a Cold War product, but it was built for a completely different purpose. With a top speed of Mach 2.5 and enough hard points to carry 11 air-to-air missiles into a fight, the F-15 may be thought of as a Ferrari compared to the gun track that is the Warthog. But that doesn't mean these blistering fast fighter killers aren't tough on their own. Despite being an American plane, the F-15 has fought under the flags of other allies. In fact, Israeli pilots hold a large portion of the F-15's air-to-air record. But the most incredible feat accomplished by an Israeli pilot with the venerable F-15 may have occurred in 1983, when pilot Zivi Nadivi and instructor Yayor Gal managed to land the top-tier fighter after losing its entire right wing in a mid-air collision. More on that later. Thanks to a pair of powerful Pratt & Whitney F-100 PW220 afterburning turbofans that produce more thrust than the aircraft's drag and weight combined, the F-15 could fly at speeds exceeding Mach 2.5. To put it another way, the F-15 is so powerful that it can accelerate even when flying straight up. When compared to the Soviet juggernaut MiG-25, the high thrust-to-weight ratio combined with a low weight-to-wing area provides for a high degree of maneuverability, allowing for what the Air Force felt would be a superior combination of features. Only a few years later, courtesy of defecting Soviet pilot Flight Lieutenant Viktor Ivanovich Polenko, the United States obtained a MiG-25, and the world learned that the terrifying Foxbat wasn't so terrifying after all. All of that speed was the consequence of multiple design compromises, and the MiG-25 was never intended to be an air dominance fighter in the first place. It was more of an intercept platform, designed to close swiftly with American bombers rather than engage in acrobatic dogfights with other planes. In the years that followed, the F-15, a fighter intended to combat with an unrivaled air dominance fighter, annihilated its opponents in fight after fight, scoring several victories over Israeli pilots. In reality, an Israeli pilot logged the first air-to-air kill in an F-15 in 1979, and Israeli pilots have piled up no fewer than 60 additional shootdowns from the cockpits of Eagles since then. Before we narrate the one-wing landing experience, be sure to subscribe to get more content like this. On May 1, 1983, 2 Israeli F-15Ds squared off against 4 older Douglas A-4N Skyhawks in a fake dogfight over the Negev desert as part of training. Pilots training against one another in the United States are normally required to maintain what is known as a safety bubble. A 500-foot or more bubble is maintained around each aircraft in order to avoid collisions during the high-speed maneuvering inherent to dogfighting, or as pilots prefer to call it, executing basic fighter maneuvering, or BFM. The rationale for this training bubble became clear as the 2 Israeli F-15s swung into action against their A-4 aggressor opponents. One of the 2 F-15s, the one with Nadivi at the controls, collided with one of the A-4s, destroying the A-4 almost immediately. Nadivi's plane went into a downward spin right away, and his instructor, Gall, gave him the order to eject. In that situation, Nadivi the pupil was higher in rank than his instructor and chose not to punch out as he regained control of the plane. As the plane leveled off, he and Gall looked over their right shoulders to see fuel vapor flowing out of the wing region, but neither could see the extent of the damage beyond it due to the cloud of fuel being lost. The airplane began to roll again as Nadivi lowered their airspeed. Nadivi made a selection based on the fact that there was an airstrip just over 10 miles away. He activated the F-15's 2 powerful afterburners, which increased the fighter's engine output from 14,590 pounds to a stunning 23,770 pounds. It was a risky decision, but it worked to level the plane and pitch it in the right direction. Despite fuel flowing out the wing and the twin Pratt & Whitney F-100 PW220 engines emptying the rest into the burn, what Nadivi and Gall didn't realize was that their mid-air collision with the Skyhawk had ripped the entire right wing of their F-15 off the fuselage just 2 feet from its base. The 2 men were attempting the impossible. They were flying in a fighter jet with only 1 wing, and little more than vapor remained in the fuel lines. Nadivi had to maintain a high airspeed to keep the plane steady, which made landing difficult. The recommended airspeed for landing an F-15 was roughly 130 knots, or slightly shy of 150 miles per hour, according to Nadivi, but they were actually flying at 260 knots as he lowered his tail and brought the F-15 down to the tarmac, right around 300 miles per hour. The tailhook that Nadivi had hoped would slow their landing was pulled off the plane almost immediately, and for a brief moment, it appeared that their remarkable flight had been for nothing as the barricades at the end of the airport approached. The F-15 came to a halt with only approximately 10 meters to go before colliding. According to Nadivi, it wasn't until he turned to shake hands with his instructor Gall that he saw the true degree of the harm. For the last 10 miles of their journey, the aircraft's right wing had been missing. Even though McDonnell Douglas was well aware that their F-15 Eagle was an extremely capable platform, they were reluctant to believe that Israeli pilots had managed to fly one without a wing. Some have even reported the firm as declaring that such a feat was impossible, until they saw an image of the plane flying, just how the Israelis described it, flying on little more than a single wing and a whole lot of courage. Tell us what you think about this incredible occurrence in the comment section. Also, check out our video on Boeing's secret stealth fighter leak.